Thanks for joining me today. I want to cover the opposite of sukha, which was covered yesterday, ritualistic habits, and talk about samsaras and patterning that can occur where it becomes counterproductive. So there is a train of thought out there, Buddhism, that we come into this world with um, proclivities to act and to be in a certain way based on patterning from past lives. And part of what we're here to do is to correct these rote ways of being and do things differently. And I get the visual of, I think the movie was called Midnight Express, about this guy who was trying to traffic hash out of Turkey, I want to say, back in the 70s. It's a true story. And he was arrested and he was put in jail in like this dungeon for pretty much the rest of his life. His lawyer was hopeful to be able to get him a plea, but it didn't happen. And he's with these individuals who've gone crazy. You know, they're in this dungeon and every day they're walking in this samskaric pattern that creates this web of being and thought. And he starts to walk in the circle with them. And then all of a sudden, he starts to walk in the opposite direction. And they're going crazy because he's not playing the game of being in this zombie-like condition, that he's challenging the zombies, so to speak. And when he starts to walk in the opposite direction is when he is able to come up with a way to break free and to get out of the jail and to escape and to return to the United States. Again, it's a true story. So it's so symbolic of the dukkha or the kleshas, these afflictions that we have, where we get in these rote ways of being that is almost like holes that have dug into the dirt that creates a path where it's hard to step out of the path. You know, it's like that sidewalk poem where, you know, you walk down the sidewalk and you fall in a hole, and the next day, you know that the hole's there and you fall in anyway. And then finally, you learn to go around the hole. And then eventually, you learn to go down a different street. And that's really where freedom happens, where we learn to not get caught up in the patterning by walking down a different street. In recovery, they talk about changing person, places, and things to be able to break free of addiction. And that makes sense because when we look at habits that we want to create, we want to set things up so that they're the same every day. I talked about meditation. You want your stopwatch. You want to have things set up in a certain way. And with addiction, you want to do the opposite. You don't want to walk by the bar. You don't want to keep the mug that you used every day to get drunk, right? You want to change even friends that are going to set you up to walk in the circle in the way that you want to change. So one of the things that is recommended when we want to change patterning is to override the part of the brain that's on autopilot. So when we create habits, there's two parts of the brain that are working. There's like the forebrain, I think it's called, where it's the autopilot part of the brain. And then there is the more the prefrontal cortex area of the brain where there is cognition and learning and unlearning. So you want to really develop more the part of the brain that can allow for changes on a conscious level and override the primitive brain that just wants to tick along. If you're a neuroscience geek out there, correct my, visuals because, or these languaging because I'm a neuroscience person, but there is a part of the brain that likes habits so that we can just do things without thinking. We can get to work without really paying attention. We can be in another world. We're driving along and we get to our job and we're like, how did we get there? I wasn't even paying attention. So to change samskaric patterning, we need to pay attention. So I don't know if this is going to be pertinent for you, but it was for me. Today I decided to channel what my guides say, just to give you a channeled message. And it really kind of goes along with this topic of how do we change patternings? And basically what my guides said are stay in the now, ride the wave in the now and not get caught up in the past, having a good old time with your friends and you got high or you got drunk and then the next day you have remorse because you miss work, or worrying about tomorrow, which creates angst, which creates its own set of patterning, just this thought patterning of worrying about things that haven't even happened. I think Mark Twain said something, I've lived a really long life and I've had a lot of experiences, most of which have never happened. And Scott Peck talks about mental illness is the avoidance of pain and mental health as reality at all cost. So when we talk about the kleshas, the two that stand out are aversions and clinging. When we're averse to things and we try to avoid them, that creates its own type of suffering and samskaric pattern, samsara. And then when we cling to things, then that creates this addictive pattern of having to have things the way we want them instead of allowing things to be as they are. So here's the message from my guides. Dearest one, good day. You want us to help with your audience. What do they need to know? That they are safe. There is no safety that can come on the outside. It doesn't exist. It only exists on the inside. The times will wax and wane, and if you ride the wave by being thrashed around, you will get hurt. But no, the wave doesn't have, excuse me, the wave doesn't have any preference. It isn't personal. Surf the wave. You can stay on top of it and have fun. Have fun on the wave. Life is an adventure not to be seen as something to arm wrestle, rather something to be enjoyed. Each moment, the light ones and the dark ones, allow you to feel deeply as this is a blessed human experience. Where else would you get this? This is what you came for, yes? You made the decision to come here. Now live your life fully with gusto. Breathe in the air like it is your last breath. And then let it go. Breathe it in and let it go. How does it feel? Let's do that together. Let's breathe in and breathe out and see how it makes us feel. Can you feel that life wants to greet you with a breath? Breathe in the gusto, the joy that is your birthright. Your birthright to feel this, to enjoy each moment as your last. As once it comes in, it will go out. Sit on top of the wave and don't get caught in the yestermorrows that don't exist. Just this. This is it. Go with it. As the breath comes in, let it greet the timely changes of your world. It is needed. Go celebrate it with the waves. Let them mist you with ebullient joy. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. If you want me to do more channeling, I channel every day personally. If you want me to share that with you or teach you how to channel or automatic write, which is what I did with that, let me know.